Alright, quick update on GMT. So it looks like we are retesting the 618 fib retracement of this micro push up. So I wanted to see previously when we have had uptrends what fibs we've specifically stuck to. So in this case we had a backtest of the 0.5 in the micro term before having a push up. In this case we had a retest of the 0.5, and drawing from here there was no retest. So in the very short term, this 0.5 should have held if we were going to continue the bullish trajectory. But you know, looking at this objectively, it doesn't always work like that. So this 618 is a really good level to keep your eyes on. This floor of 65 cent, I think as long as we hold 65 cent, we could be in line for a much bigger continuation on this. Maybe we need to cool off a bit more, so let's pull it back a little bit more and also see some other levels that we could potentially keep our eyes on. So we've had this green box in play. This green box would be my worst case scenario. So you know, like I said, this 618 holding is not too imperative. Do bear in mind this is a 382 now. If I move it back, you can see we had our 618 here from this micro fib, but moving back to the slightly more macro fib, which I'd put more weight on, I think this green box needs to hold. If we don't hold this green box, then you know, we could start falling off the table. Now do bear in mind, from when this released, it was up basically 10,000%. so I'm not going to be FOMOing in at these levels. You know, I specifically said in my previous levels that once we kind of get around the 90 cent to $1 region, I would be predicting that this would at least be a local top before we have a more macro correction. So far we made our way up to like 85. So let's say hypothetically this was the local top and we're going to come down, have a more macro retest. Bear in mind I'm saying a macro retest, but you can see this really hasn't been out for the longest time. So do take that with a grain of salt. Generally speaking though, we are still in a fairly decent uptrend. If we did come back down to this trend line, you could see that this would nicely put us in this, first of all, the bottom of this green box lines up with the previous high that we've got here. So a retest of this local high, all-time high at the time, flipped support would be extremely bullish in my opinion. I'd say that would be the best case scenario for GMT, because then we could really start talking about pushing up to $1 and not having that be a local top. So like I said, theoretically, let's say this was the local top, we would need to come down, retest anywhere between 49 cent and 44 cent. If we do hold these levels, then I would still be predicting a push up to $1 in the coming days and the coming weeks. Like I said, this is literally the 4-hour chart, so this has not been out for long. If we're on the weekly, you can still see we are only in our second week of trading data. So all in all, keep an eye out for this big green box. As long as we do stay above this big green box, which once again is coming in at, you know, 49 cent to 44 cent, as long as we stay above those levels, then GMT is still extremely bullish for another push up. But would I be FOMOing in or buying this right now after it has gone up 10,000%? No, I wouldn't. If I was buying, I would, like I said, be waiting for a retest, come down, hit this green box, have a bullish, you know, reversal at this point, and then we can really start talking about this region here being your previous support, previous all-time high, flips as resistance, which, like I said, I think that's the most bullish case for GMT. We have gone up 10,000%, so if it does need to take a breather, if people do want to take some profits in the coming days, this is the level we want to hold. If we fall out of this level, then, you know, I mean, it's anyone's guess where we could bottom out, but you know, we could really start seeing some big falls off the table. I mean, 10% is the first move, then down to these levels we've got a 37% move, previous micro high 57%, previous bottom down here 77%. So I mean, it could really bottom anywhere down that vicinity, which is why, like I'm saying, this green box needs to hold, otherwise it could get very ugly. But all in all, uptrend is still in play, very, very bullish, looks pretty good, and I would still be predicting a push up to 90 cent and $1 in the next week or so. If this is the local top, even if it's not the local top and we need to come down, test these levels, then I would think in the next week or two we would eventually be coming back up to here. So that is all I see for GMT. Looks very good. Once again, if you are in GMT, best of luck. And yeah, none of this is financial advice, just my own opinion on the market. Cowboy out. Peace.